maybe from a speaker. And one of the guys will come in to fix it up for us. I've wanted to do this for a long period of time. Our Florida liaison, Norman Sherman, I think he was at Francis Lewis at one point, but he's been retired for years, and he sort of does a lot of work for us and for the chapter and for the fund in Florida, and he has done this every year for the last 3 or 4 years. So he sent me his material, I updated the figures, I added some stuff to it, and so it's a way. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front that I know this by personal experience, because hard to believe I'm going to be mature next month. Years ago, my predecessor, Erwin Shanis, and I were talking, and I made the mistake of calling him old. He got very indignant. And he said, Doug, I am not old, I am mature. So being who I am, I immediately said to him, yes, you're very mature, and ran out of the office. So we've had this sort of joke that being 65 is when you become mature. So I've got 3 weeks to be immature and premature, and then I'm done. My wife will be happy, but now she'll say, now what's your excuse? So I signed her up for Medicare in the spring. She's older than me. I always went for older women. And I was so excited to sign her up for Medicare, I forgot to do the screen prints I wanted to do. So I spent Labor Day weekend gearing myself up to sign myself up for Medicare. So I included the screen prints here of what you're going to see if you enroll online. And there's a lot of other stuff, but that's in there, and a couple of the letters you're going to get. I couldn't find one letter, but they're very good at sending letters. Just save them all. They're very good at sending billing statements. And we'll talk about that. And since Norm had the PowerPoint, I figured I'd try a PowerPoint. God help us. So, we're going to get started. 4 parts of Medicare. You know A and B. You know D. You may know C. So what are they? Part A is basically hospital and facility charges. Hospitals, skilled nursing facilities, rehab facilities, that's covered by Medicare Part A. Medicare Part A, as long as you've worked for 10 years and paid into Social Security, you pay nothing for Medicare Part A. It's free. Okay? So Medicare Part A covers hospitals, facilities. Medicare Part B is what covers the doctors and the laboratories. And that's what they say is optional, but you really got to have it. Because otherwise, you have no insurance. Anybody here in HIP health plan? Okay, for HIP, your A and B becomes Part C. You're in what they call a Medicare Advantage plan. It's managed care. It's like HIP, but it's one-stop shopping. Because you go to the doctor, HIP bills Medicare, HIP bills themselves, whatever. It's not like you're getting a lot of stuff back and forth. Medicare Advantages, or HMOs, you go to a HIP doctor, they take care of everything. If your doctor is not part of the HIP network, even though they may take Medicare, you can't go to that doctor. Which is fine if you're happy with the doctors you've always been doing HIP, and with the revamped HIP, new things they're doing with the HIP centers, and Advantage Care physicians, that may be okay. But just so you know the difference in this managed care. If you're outside the area, you may have some trouble getting claims paid, but we'll help you with that because we have very good relationships with our friends at Emblem. Part D is prescription drug. That's the newest part. And Part D is mandatory. You must be in some kind of a Part D drug plan. It doesn't have to be the New York City enhanced Part D drug plan, but you must be in the Medicare Part D drug plan. If you don't, they penalize you like 1% for every month you're not there. If you wait 5 years to get into a drug plan, you're paying 60% more than you should for your drug plan. If you don't sign up for Part B when you should, it's like 10% a year for every year you don't. So you sign up for B, you sign up for D when it comes along.
Is that automatic?
What?
Well, like Part D. Well,
Okay.
A and B, they'll let you know it's time, you have to
Right.
sign. But is D automatic like that?
Yeah, okay, good question. What happens is, we have New York City coverage, right? New York City coverage, the month when you turn 65 and they're eligible for Medicare, automatically becomes a Medicare supplement. We've got a slide here. Basically, Medicare Part B pays about 80% of the cost. There's 20% left over. That's where the city coverage comes in. The city coverage, here we go, look at this. Yeah, hospital, skilled nursing, healthcare, Part B, doctor's visits, clinical lab, premium, Part C, Part D. Okay. Your city coverage becomes supplemental to Medicare automatically. So you don't have to buy anything. October 7th, or October 15th until December 7th is the open enrollment period. If people want to change their Medicare supplements and change their enrollments, you're going to see on TV multiple ads from every insurance company you never heard of. You know, and there'll be Humana, there'll be Oscar, there'll be God knows what else. You don't have to buy anything else. Your city coverage automatically becomes a Medicare supplement. If you're enrolled in a city-sponsored drug plan with your health plan through the optional rider, that automatically becomes a Medicare Part D drug plan.
I didn't know that.
I'm telling you that's how it works. You'll see a change in deduction on your pension statement. Yes?
Isn't the welfare fund, I mean, if you're on the welfare fund for your drugs, isn't that?
The welfare fund stopped covering your drugs when you retired. And you would buy the optional benefits rider through your health plan, through GHI and Express Scripts, to cover your prescription drugs. We've been reimbursing copays. Okay? So, you know, Express Scripts will put you in a different group, and you'll get a whole big thick book that nobody can ever understand, because that's what the people in Medicare say they have to send out.
So then do I need to contact Express Scripts?
No, they'll know automatically. Trust me, they know when to charge you more. Yeah.
If you're already in the high option rider, you don't have to worry.
No, if you have the optional benefits rider to your health plan now, it automatically becomes a Medicare drug plan. Now, not Part D, Part D. It automatically becomes a Part D. I've got a slide here showing what the drug plan will look like. Now, if you have a spouse or partner who is younger than you on the plan, nothing happens to that person's coverage until they join you in maturity. Okay? So, they have the pre-65 plan, just like what you have now. The GHI with the copays, the drug with the copays, nothing changes for that person. It only changes for you. And the pension deduction becomes one non-Medicare and one Medicare. So it goes from like 210 to 240, something like that. So it's not a big jump, but it will be a difference. And so nothing happens to that. Now, when your spouse or partner joins you in maturity, then the pension deduction is 2 times whatever the health plan is, health deduction is. Part B, you pay nothing. Part A, you pay nothing. Part B, it depends on income. Okay? The standard amount everybody turning 65 this year pays is $134. Trust me, they know how to bill you. I just paid my first 3 months last night. $402 covers me till January. There's what we call income-related Medicare adjustment amounts, or IRMA. Going back to 2005, under Bush II, when they created Medicare Part D, they were looking for funding sources to help pay for it. So they said, aha, let's go for the rich people. And let's say they have those above a certain income level pay a progressive amount more towards Medicare Part B to help fund Part D, and some of the other things. So if your income, that should be the next one. All right, look at that, perfect. If you file an individual tax return and your adjusted gross income is less than $85,000, congratulations, you're not rich. If you file a tax return with more than $85,000 as an individual, or more than $170,000, progressively, you're rich, you pay more. 85 to 107 or 170 to 214, you pay an extra $53.50 a month for Medicare Part B. That's called the IRMA, I-R-M-A-A amount. And it goes all the way up that if you're an individual and you have more than 214,000, guess what? You're paying $428 a month. Oh my God, that's horrible.
Is that per individual?
That's per person. So if you and the spouse, you know, have this income above 300, a gross income over 320,000, you're rich, and you're going to pay $428.60 a month per person.
Just for the Medicare?
Just for Medicare Part B.
A is free.
A is free, B you pay for,
And then
and D you pay out of your pension. So you're going to be carrying this, either you're going to be writing a check for $428 a month or per person, or if you take Social Security, it'll come out of Social Security automatically. However, there is good news. The good news is that you retired as a New York City employee. And New York City, since Medicare began, said that they would reimburse Medicare Part B premiums because it's a savings to the city to do that as opposed to providing full health care. And this is the deal. The late Mary Pinkett, if you know the name Bill Pinkett, is one of our retirees. His wife Mary was a city council member for over 30 years. This was what she worked on. And she got this, and she got it in the code where this happens. Now, at various times with financial crises, they've reduced it. But since about 2000, when Giuliani was mayor and still somewhat credible, sorry. God damn, that filter's going already, you know?